Hey y'all. It's Dr. Nash with the Garden of Nash, and it is freaking cold out here. But you know what? That's that garden life for you. We got to get out here in the wintertime because it's not too late to start your garden. I hope you're starting your gardens. If not, listen up. We got some tips for you. Check out our old videos. We just posted some videos about stuff that we're growing right now in the garden. You can see the garden behind me. It's actually in the 20s right now. We're in the 7BAA region in the Georgia area, but we still got some broccoli over there. We got some of the roses that we planted. Some of our herbs, the greens are doing pretty well. And so I want to talk to y'all today about my top picks for fruit trees that we're going to be growing in the Garden of Nash this year. And so remember, hit that like, subscribe, and comment, and share with somebody so they'll learn how to start their garden too. All right, so let's get into it. So one of the things I've never grown, if you remember from previous videos, I've actually grown blackberries before. I got 2 blackberry bushes that every year they come up. And remember, the thing about the blackberry bushes is that the stem that grows that year and produces fruit, it actually dies the following year, and the new stems that are produced produce more fruit. So every time a stem produces fruit, you actually lose that next year. So you got to make sure you're getting growth over there. Those are over there by my steps in the garden, but I want to expand my berry offering this year. And so I actually have this Brightwell rabbit eye blueberry tree right here. And with this right here, I'm able to, these grow. You actually want to plant them in this time of year when it's actually pretty cold. It's not too early. They will be able to suffice the cold weather. What I like to do is just kind of wrap the bottom when it gets super cold so that the roots can stay pretty warm and it prevents it from being damaged during the frost. I love blueberries. Actually, a small trick, if you didn't know, that you can actually measure the sugar content in a blueberry by actually putting it in water. You have 2 blueberries, put them in water, and then whichever one floats to the top, whichever one drowns, you can tell which one has more sugar in it. That tells you if it's ripe or not. And so that's just something, a trick that I learned. We could definitely show that and try that. Now, another thing I wanted to show is this is actually a LSU Purple Fig. If you remember in one of my previous videos, I actually got this from a farmer's market locally in the area. I think it was Atlanta Farmer's Market. And so this is a special fig. You actually don't need a male and a female for this one to produce. I think for my blueberries, I have to go back. You actually, for that blueberry plant, you don't need a male or female either from the pollinators. But for this purple fig, you only need 1 plant and you're able to grow this particular. Not all varieties are like that, so just make sure you check out the variety that you're growing. Now, when I first bought this, I have a picture. There were hardly no stems on this. Now you see we have an actual stem that's grown up. We got a couple of others over here. This one actually fell off, but if you look really closely, actually, you can see that there's actually little buds that are actually getting ready to come out too. So I love the fact that I can try to grow this fig. If you recall, I actually had a fig from my uncle, Fruit Forest, I call that video, and he actually let me take some of the stems off to be able to graft it or propagate it on its own. So the fig actually did not survive, but the kiwi plant did survive. And so I'll show you all some footage of the kiwi plant. But the kiwi plant, I was able to keep that inside because I didn't want to keep it on the outside. I wasn't sure how I was going to do in the winter, so I wanted to kind of keep it in a mild environment. So I'll show you my setup for my impromptu grow house, which is actually in the garage, and I use some artificial lighting and some grow lights to keep those plants alive. I got a few plants in there like my cactus and things that I want to keep out of the cold, but the same thing for the fig. You can prevent it from frost if you cover the bottom. Now, my other fruit tree that I have is a persimmon. And so the persimmon is, again, this is another one that I took from my uncle's fruit forest, and I was able to propagate it, and it actually was growing leaves. It actually is a bare stem now, so I don't know if it's actually going to come back or not. Now, you can tell me if you grow persimmons, what you think. I'm not sure what variety this one is, but if you think this one's going to come back, or if you got any advice on a persimmon trees. And I think this one, you don't need a male and a female. You just need one plant. It has everything it needs there to produce fruit. So we're gonna give it a shot. We're gonna keep the hope alive that this plant comes back. Remember, until it dies, it's still alive. If you see any green, like you break off a stem, you're able to see greenery, and you know that it's still a chance that that plant can continue to survive. And so with the persimmon tree, those are gonna take a little bit longer to grow. Those usually are getting ripe later on in the season, like later on in the year. And another little known fact about the persimmon tree, the persimmons themselves, is that they take some time to, once you pick them, it takes some time to ripen. And so a trick is you can actually put it in a bag with an apple that is ripe, and the apple actually gives off this ethylene gas. The ethylene gas actually helps the persimmon go ahead and ripen. Instead of being so hard, it actually softens, it gets more sweeter, it gets more sweet, and it can actually improve that process or make that process a little faster. With that. Now, not all fruit has to ripen that way. Some fruit, you can just put it on the counter, like we do our tomatoes, and they're just automatically gonna ripen. Our tomatoes, our peppers, when they're changing colors from green to red or green to red to yellow, they are already gonna ripen on their own. So that's something to know, the difference between those two plants and those two fruits and how that actually works. All right, y'all, so I'm gonna take y'all in the house with me so I can get some pictures of the other trees that I have. Oh, that's an actual watermelon right there. I don't know if y'all see that. That's an old watermelon that we actually grew earlier this season. So, all right, I'm gonna take y'all in the house with me. So excuse the mess. Here we go. All right, you guys, hold on, bear with me for a second. All right, y'all, so I got my grow light, which is just a pretty simple light, and I have some others I have installed. I also have a grow house in the shed too. I'll do another video on that, but this is the persimmon tree. As you see, it is pretty bare right there, so I have to figure out what to do with that. Now, let me skip over my cactus right there. The snake plant, and then the geranium citronella. But we actually have the so I'm learning so much out here in the Garden of Nash, and how these fruit trees work. This is my first time really delving into it. Now again, before, like I said, I have some blackberries. I also have planted watermelon before. As you can see, we also have done, we've tried a few other things as well that haven't been so successful. So this year, I'm hoping to be successful. These are my goals for the year. Now with your garden, you wanna make sure you're setting your goals. You know what things, you're planting the things that you like or the things that you wanna try. Now here in the Garden of Nash, we like to experiment. And so we try to experiment with things that we haven't grown before. I would like to get more into exotic plants. So again, check out our previous videos. We tell you about the flowers that we're gonna grow, that we've already started, and we'll do a video on that. We taught you about the vegetables that we're gonna start early right now in the wintertime, within the next few weeks, 6 weeks before your last frost date, which for us is gonna be beginning of April. I think that's when, right around Good Friday. That's a good way to judge when the frost date is gonna be, right before that spring equinox. And so also we talked about some herbs. We're gonna talk about some herbs. We'll do a video on that as well. So any questions, any suggestions, any advice, check me out. Put a comment down for your girl so I can learn, and we all learn together here in the garden. And again, we're students of the garden. I think that's all I want to share today. I thank y'all for tuning in. Again, make sure you subscribe, like, so we can keep bringing these tips and comments to you. Watch 2 or 3 videos, share with some family members, and then we'll keep this train on the track. So remember, the more you grow, the more you know. This is Dr. Nash with the Garden of Nash. Have you started your garden yet?